Threatened and endangered species are federally protected by the Endangered Species Act and by the state of Missouri through the Wildlife Code. To determine which species may exist within your project area, use the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Information for Planning and Conservation and MDC Missouri Natural Heritage database. The IPAC and Natural Heritage Review Report are required documents for the RER Threatened and Endangered Species Resource Review. See the previous slide for the links to the two resource documents. The LPA is required to make an effects or impact determination for each species on the IPAC or Natural Heritage Review Report. The effects or impact determination should include a description of the species habitat and a determination if the species or habitat will be impacted. Photos supporting the determination should be provided and may include bridge and culvert photos, roost trees, stream photos, riparian habitat, or other potential habitat photos. All documentation can be uploaded to the RER through the project attachments. Any commitments required for compliance should be in the specification manual. Fieldwork and all necessary approvals by environmental agencies could impact the project bid schedule and should be considered when developing the project schedule. The IPAC provides the federally listed threatened and endangered species that may exist within the project area. The IPAC used must be less than 90 days old. An effects determination must be made for each species listed. Effects determinations include no effect, may affect not likely to adversely affect, and may affect likely to adversely affect. Please refer to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Consultation Handbook for guidance on effect determinations. Photo documentation should be provided of the habitat for each species. When making the effects determination, refer to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Consultation Handbook for additional guidance. A no effect determination can be made when the species and/or its habitat is either not present or will not be affected by the project. An example of a no effect determination would be when threatened and endangered bats that roost in trees are listed for a project area and suitable roost trees are either not present or will not be affected by the project. Written documentation should be uploaded to the RER indicating a no effect determination. A may affect, not likely to adversely affect determination can be made when the species and/or its habitat is present and may be affected by the project. Indirect effects, both on-site and off-site, should be considered. An example of a may affect not likely to adversely affect determination is when a threatened or endangered mussel is present directly downstream of a bridge replacement. Because the bridge replacement may impact water quality downstream of the project site, and the water quality impact may affect the mussel species, but is not anticipated to adversely affect the mussel species, it would therefore receive a may affect not likely to adversely affect determination. A may affect not likely to adversely affect determination may require U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service verification or informal U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service consultation. Additionally, MDC resources are often requested. A may affect likely to adversely affect determination can be made when the species will be adversely impacted. Indirect effects both on-site and off-site should be considered. Formal U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service consultation is required, and mitigation may also be required. An example of a may affect likely to adversely affect determination would be a situation in which the same mussel described above had its mussel bed destroyed during construction or the downstream contaminants from the bridge replacement altered the mussel bed, killed the mussels, or reduced the mussel population. Following formal consultation, mitigation could include restoration of a degraded stretch of stream that can support the threatened or endangered mussel. When you submit a project for review on the Missouri Natural Heritage Review website, you will receive a Natural Heritage Review report. The Natural Heritage Review report will rank the project as Level 1 when there are no records of threatened or endangered species within the project area. Level 2 when the records of state-listed species or species of conservation concern are identified within the project area. Or Level 3 when federally listed species are identified within the project area. You must contact the Missouri Department of Conservation for the follow-up report for any Level 2 or Level 3 issues. The follow-up report, as shown in this slide, will provide a detailed species list and distance to occurrence. Like federally listed species, an impact determination should be made for state-listed species and species of conservation concern. Though the species effects determinations, as described in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Consultation Handbook, do not apply to state-listed species, the LPA should describe whether the species or their habitat will be affected by the project. The MDC website and MoDOT EPG can be used to describe the potential habitat. Migratory birds and bats can use bridges and culverts to roost and build nests. Thus, if your project contains a bridge or culvert, please provide a complete set of photos showing the bridge or culvert. If areas of a bridge or culvert cannot be seen in the photos, or if the photos are low quality and features cannot be clearly identified, you may be required to retake the photos. Habitat photos should support your threatened and endangered species effects determination or impact analysis. If the threatened or endangered species habitat occurs in the stream, then provide photos that focus on showing the stream habitat. Providing general pictures that do not focus on the specific habitat often does not provide the detail needed to support the effects determination or impact analysis. A threatened and endangered species checklist that is specific to bats and migratory birds can be found in the EPG. See the link in the slide. Habitat of federally listed bats are often affected by transportation projects. Therefore, the Federal Highway Administration and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service entered into a bat programmatic agreement to streamline the consultation process. Informal bat programmatic consultation may occur when suitable roost trees are present, and all tree clearing is between 0 to 100 feet from the road, bridge, or railroad. All tree clearing must be completed between November 1st and March 31st. Formal bat programmatic consultation may occur when suitable roost trees are present and tree clearing occurs between 100 to 300 feet from the road, bridge, or railroad. A letter from the LPA that commits to paying mitigation is required documentation. Tree clearing may occur outside the November 1st to March 31st period. However, additional mitigation would be required. If tree clearing also occurs outside 300 feet from the road, bridge, or railroad, then the project does not qualify for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service bat programmatic consultation. When the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service bat programmatic consultation cannot occur, individual consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is completed. LPA projects do not typically require U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service informal or formal consultation. However, on occasion when a species effect cannot be determined or when a threatened or endangered species is affected, informal or formal consultation will be completed. Informal U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service consultation is used to determine or confirm the effects to a federally listed species. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service provides guidance on the species, its habitat, and its life cycle needs that will be considered in the effects determination and will help in determining project adjustments that can avoid or minimize adverse effects. Informal consultation is also used to determine if formal consultation is needed. Formal consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is initiated by the Federal Highway Administration when they, or MoDOT acting on their behalf, determine that a listed species will be adversely affected or critical habitat will be adversely modified by proposed project. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will issue a biological opinion with a determination of whether the project is likely to jeopardize or not likely to jeopardize a species' continued existence or adversely modify critical habitat. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will also advise on reasonable and prudent measures to avoid and minimize species impacts.